3 years ago, on our exciting trip down to the USA along the West Coast, you may well have seen the episode entitled "Somebody Killed Red Dragon." And when we were hit from behind at that incredible impact, Janine tells me I shouted out, "No!" Because in that instant, without thinking about it consciously, I knew part of the dream had died. Well, 3 years later, and we're returning from a lovely long weekend, Thanksgiving weekend in Kelowna, on our way home, and this time Janine says I shouted, "No, not again!" And for the second time in its short but beautiful life, Red Dragon is back in the repair shop. We were hit by a deer that was part of a pack of 3 that were running across the freeway. Now, once again, of course, you know what that means. It means that the repairs are going to take forever. I'm going to talk about the repair process toward the end of the video. This is a relatively short video because what I wanted to do was to show you the video from all 4 cameras that recorded the actual events of the deer running across the road, the point of impact, and from the left, right, front, and back cameras, exactly what happened. And it's so sad. So those of you who have children here, you may not want them to be watching this. Immediately after the impact, I reached up to the touch screen, I tapped on the camera icon, which records the last X number of minutes leading up to the event, and that's how I managed to get the content of the 4 cameras of everything leading up to the time of impact and what happened after that. So, not a happy time, not a happy video, but I think it's educational, and I think that as you watch it, you'll be very grateful for the dashcam feature. Thank goodness I actually had a USB stick, USB drive, and it was able to record. If you haven't done that and your USB drive is sitting disconnected, well, get it in today. So, without wasting any further time, here's the backstory. We spent 3 days up at Kelowna. My in-laws, Janine's family, had a wonderful time. I was flying my drone and getting to learn how to make a drone follow the person, or how to make the drone circle around a point of interest. And we were on our way back on the Monday morning. We were on the 97, which is otherwise known as the connector. That's between Kelowna and heading toward Vancouver. 6.1 kilometers away from the little town of Merritt, where, as you all know, there is a supercharger. So Tesla have a supercharger in Merritt, and then further along the road at Hope. We were 6 kilometers away when this happened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the content of the 4 cameras. I'm going to comment as I do it because there's some really interesting aspects to what the car did, how the car performed in all of this. So let's go to the front camera, shall we? And I'll just let it run 30 seconds before the deer come up. As we go over the crest, this is when 3 deer on the left-hand side, you see them coming in, they're very well hidden because they just blend against the background of the grass. So here we are, cresting down the hill now, and I'm going to stop it as I see them enter the video first of all. It's just about now. I move to the right lane. I'm in the right lane. And now, do you see them on the left? I'll move the mouse over there. They're entering over there. So let's continue. Okay, now you'll notice that this one closest to me accelerates dramatically. In fact, the back one, that one there, was in front first of all. But this guy runs like the blazes. I'm going to go frame by frame now. And you can see there he comes. And is a burst of speed. He leaps up. Oh my gosh, I hate watching this. Every time I watch it, I feel sick. He lifts up. He leaps. And his head is going to hit the left-hand top corner of the windshield and completely shatter it, although it remains intact. All right, watch it. This is the frame now. And you can see what happens to the video. It bends and the lines of the road curve. That was the actual instant of impact when, of course, the camera received such a vibration that it couldn't capture a straight picture. But watch this. Next frame, the camera's recovered. And I am pulling over to the right-hand side, and then I have to stop, and there's unfortunately not a pullover, so we just pull over to the side. So that was the front camera. I'll let this play at normal speed now. You see the pace that he put on, the sudden burst of acceleration. Before we go to the back camera, let me point something out. I want you to look at the direction that Red Dragon is traveling, and I want you to see how the car moves a little to the right. Not a lot because we'll be off the road, but it moves a little to the right to try and avoid the impact. But of course the deer thinks he's doing the 100-meter sprint. So let me just go back very slightly. Watch the car relative to the lines. There. Do it again. Just before it hits. I'm moving to the right lane. I'm sitting in the right lane, going dead straight, and I never moved the steering wheel. And watch it move to the right. There, look at that. The car took evasive action when it saw this object barreling toward us. It couldn't take dramatic action like going off the road because it could easily have caused the car to swerve or to roll. And here's the interesting thing. Later that day, probably an hour after we'd gone through, another driver came across more deer crossing the road, and he jerked the wheel to try and avoid it, and he rolled. The car rolled several times. They had to close both directions of traffic, and here you can see on the news report, the little flyer at the bottom, telling you that the road on the connector is now open once again. So we were very, very fortunate that I didn't react and try and swerve the car, but you can see Red Dragon reacting. Also, at the same time, just before the point of impact, I could feel the brake pedal go down to the floor, and the car was both trying to evade the oncoming deer as well as try and brake, but didn't help. The car actually hit the deer. With this, let's move to the back camera. Let's watch what happens. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to go to just before 34 seconds. I'm hitting it proactively. 33. All right, I'm going to go forward frame by frame now because we are so close. So you'll see the deer flying over the roof of the car. There it goes. You can see the legs coming in. There it is. This is so sickening to watch. So I apologize. Look at the shadow on the road, and you can see the deer is upside down on its back at this point. Now, across the other side, you can see over there, there is one of the other deer that was trying to run, obviously saw what happened and dashed back to that side, and you will notice that there are two deer. They both stayed on that side. But let's bring this deer down to earth again. Oh my gosh. It's sickening. That is my side mirror cover. So it hit as it went over, and you'll see this in the left camera, smashed the side mirror, and the cover is bouncing there. There's the deer about to impact on the road. So let's move forward. So he lands on 4 legs, but immediately crumples to the ground. And watch, you can actually see him get up and run away. It's difficult, but you can see it. There he goes. There, he's running off into the grass, and he disappears. So that was the rear camera. Let's move back to, what have we got here? The left. So this is the camera on my side. On the driver's side, it is the side where the outside mirror got smashed off, the cover knocked off, and the rest was just dangling, and you'll see it swinging like that. Let's move up to the 34-second mark. Okay, we're on 33. Okay, let's go back to here. So I'm going to advance frame by frame. So the first thing you see is the body swings around. After the head got hit so hard, the body swings round, and his hooves or his body or the thigh connect with my car. And I've got several dents on the body panels on the left-hand side. So there he is. You can see it swinging around. He's also going over the glass roof. And there you can see parts of my side mirror going. There's the last of his hooves. Well, you're still seeing it. And there they disappear. And here's the inside of the side mirror hanging down. Now, watch. You will see 2 deer and they've basically retreated to the other side of the road. So they were saved, but I wonder whether one of them was the one that caused the accident that happened soon after I'd passed by there. Now you can see, I'll just keep tapping the frame by frame, and you can see the inside of the side mirror just dangling on two pretty strong wire connectors. That's it, nothing more to see there. Let's move to the final camera, the right-hand side repeater camera. Here we go. Let's move the mouse away so you have an unobstructed view. Look at that. There he comes. Oh, gosh. He's upside down, legs in the air. He turns miraculously. He's ready to land on all four legs. He flattens down to the road, and as I accelerate a little, you can see he is able to get up, walk forward, go into the grass, and disappear. That was so sad. It was terrible. And we had both of my daughters in the back seats. We had Janine on my right. And as Janine says, I shouted, "No, not again!" Well, I mean, what else do you shout? I didn't swear, so it was terrible. But here's the great thing. Why do I love Tesla? The cabin was perfectly intact. In fact, you can see from the photograph here, the glass in the top left of the windshield was shattered, completely shattered. But it was intact. The finest of little splinters dropped down onto the dashboard and some of them onto my clothes. We were able to clean those out and brush them out. But it was intact. Now, bear in mind, we were still 2-3 hours away from Vancouver. I was not going to get my car towed and have to unpack everything and do what we did the time before. So I took it slow, I took it careful, and I drove. Now, listen to this. Autopilot worked. All of the functions worked, the indicators, the media center. There were no error messages coming up on the screen because I don't think that the left outside mirror is actually connected to any kind of warnings. It's not used in any autopilot functionality, so we just didn't have a left mirror. So we tied it up in a shopping bag, you can see, and put some bungee cords around it just to make absolutely sure that it didn't keep hitting the side of the car all the time. And we just traveled carefully and slowly, feeling shocked, obviously, but very grateful for the reinforced cabin that protects the occupants of the car. That is one of the strong features, the selling points of Tesla, Model 3, Model S, Model X, Model Y. That cabin is reinforced and it can take tremendous punishment. The glass roof is not even affected. There's no buckling or distortion. There is some damage on the A pillar. You can see that it's a little bit crooked. There is damage on, obviously the mirror is gone. Some damage to the left-hand panels, on my driver door, on the rear passenger door, on the quarter panel behind the rear passenger door. Yeah, there is some damage there, and that's what we have to get fixed. We got home safely, we unpacked the car. It was a horrible evening, and then I had to look at this footage and decide how much I would show. Well, I mean, for the interest of everyone who uses a dash cam, this is dramatic evidence of just how the car can capture an event as seen through 4 different eyes. So what happened after that? Well, I sent in a service request. Why? Well, it said so. It says if you have glass damage or body damage, minor damage, we can repair it at the Tesla Service Center. So I applied. You got an email the next morning saying, sorry, we have canceled your appointment on the grounds that although the app tells you that we do this kind of repair, sorry, we don't here. We don't do it in our branch. Then they gave a list of approved Tesla authorized repair centers. One of them was this number 1 collision. They have several branches. There's Burnaby, there's Richmond. I hadn't heard of them before. And as the repair proceeds, I'll be letting you know how the car does and how they communicate and, all the normal things that you'd love to know if you were having to get your Tesla repaired. If you live anywhere in the Vancouver region, this is number 1 collision down in Richmond. And of course, the off-putting thing was this big sign that said Mercedes-Benz. But when I went in, and you can see from the photo here, Tesla has a pride of place among Porsche and Rolls-Royce and BMW and Mercedes. So we're in good company there, being the best of all of those cars, obviously. I spoke to a lovely, helpful receptionist, Deanna, and she put me on to the Richmond branch because they were able to take me that morning. So we got back on the Monday. On the Tuesday morning, I was driving down to Richmond and met a guy by the name of Stephen Lowe. He's a production manager there. He helped me. He was great. He took the car off, put it into service mode. As you can see here, I can't contact Red Dragon any longer. It's in service mode. But I will be keeping close tabs on what happens. And I've asked Stephen if he wouldn't mind sending me photographs of the repairs as they take place, or anything that will be useful to put on the channel, and to keep me updated as to timelines, markers, progress, and things that lead to the complete repair and recovery of Red Dragon. Now you say, what? That's unbelievably quick. They are repairing your car already? No, they gave me a loaner. They told me it would be approximately a month. You see, there is a queue, 1 or 2 other cars, but they do have to get the parts from Tesla, California. 2-week delay for that. When it comes, they'll get right onto the repair of the car. And so he said to me, be prepared for around about a month. Let's see how that timeline proceeds. I'll be keeping you posted. I'll be doing intermittent videos that talk about the repair process of a damaged Tesla if you happen to live in Vancouver. And it's not all that different from if you happen to live in Seattle, Washington, or Oregon, or somewhere down the West Coast as well. We all have to get our parts from the Tesla factory. So let me end on a great and a positive note. Last night, an email came into my inbox, and it was an invitation from Apple to the great Unleashed event. First early invitations just said Apple event, but then they changed it to the word Unleashed. I guess the power of the M1X chip being unleashed. Now, I want to just take the opportunity to thank all of you who donated through PayPal. I'm pretty much around $200 short of the target amount that's going to be needed to buy it, but I'm going to place the order anyway. And if you're able to help, the PayPal link is down here. Anything that can help this channel be more regular and continue with the work that we have been doing all this time, I'm eager. So it's next Monday that they announce all of the MacBook Pro variants that are coming on the market. I'm looking at that 16-inch. Thank you so much for your support. By the way, not one of us in the car was hurt or damaged in any way. There was nothing. The airbags didn't go off. And one of the reasons was because the deer whose head hit the windshield was deflected over the car. So the bags didn't even have to deploy, but we are totally healthy and completely undamaged. That's it for now. Cheers, and we'll see you in the next episode.